Hello and welcome to a special edition of the In the Money Players podcast. This will also be appearing on the In the Money Media YouTube channel. It's King's Plate Day, as my shirt says here, if you're watching on the YouTube side. That means we got coverage of our favorite track north of the border. That's Woodbine, and it's a stakes-laden card. It's a mandatory payout in the Pick Six. We're going to dive right in and talk about these six races. And to be joining me, Peter Thomas Fornatal here, we have the co-owner and very often co-host of our late week handicapping segments. He's Jonathan Kinchin, coming to us live from Saratoga. JK, how are things?
PTF, things are well. Just enjoying a little bit of Saratoga madness. If there's anything bad, because there's not too many, if there's anything bad about Saratoga, it's that it prevents me from going to fun places like the King's Plate, going out to Del Mar, getting to Kentucky Downs. I mean, I could go after, but there's just it monopolizes my summer. Not complaining, but if there is one complaint, there it is.
Yes, I get what you mean. And I've had years where I've had more like daily responsibilities and couldn't travel as much. But fortunately for me, I will be making the sojourn up to Toronto. Great city. Love it this time of year. I think I love it even more in September when the film festival's going on. Always encourage horse players looking for a cool destination to think about that Woodbine Mile weekend. Beautiful weather consistently in September in the city of Toronto. And it's just a cool city. If you're a New York fan, if you're a London fan, you'll probably find a lot to like in Toronto. And the racing's been good. And this card certainly exemplifies that. We start off with a race I don't think we're going to spend a whole lot of time on, JK. The Pick Six starts off with the Grade 1, E.P. Taylor, and we've got some familiar names in here, none more so than She Feels Pretty. Are you with her or against her in this spot?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fully with her. I think part of me will use some sanity insurance on the 3 Diamond Rain. Charlie Appleby. I don't have it in front of me because I don't allow myself to be a prisoner of stats, but his stats in Grade 1 turf races in the last 5 years, he's like 40, 50%, 41%. It's insane. And so Grade 1, Group 1, whatever you want to call it, I just think the Diamond Rain might be okay. Her time form US figures aren't that quick. She Feels Pretty, in my opinion, is the best female turf horse we have in this country, if not best turf horse altogether. I think she'll be hard to beat.
It's interesting. The Appleby flotilla hasn't been what it was in past years until last weekend. He'd only had the 2 runners at Gulfstream all year, but then, of course, he did come over and raid a valuable prize. And you're right, the numbers overall are overwhelming. I'm going to do a full write-up of this Pick Six for free over at inthemoneypodcast.com. But on this show, I am going to just touch on a few runners I'm interested in. For sure, the 4 will be on tickets, and I imagine we'll be working the 3 in as well. But yeah, my final answers, as it were, for this one, you can find that written piece. But in the notes we send around, it's going to be a whole lot of She Feels Pretty to kick things off. Let's move on to the second leg in this Pick Six. It's the Bid Venture Stakes. We're going 6.5 on the synthetic in this one. And one horse I know will be on some tickets for me is the 5 runner, Play Me a Tune. The angle here is career best race for this one. Came in this spot last year, almost beat the mighty, the legendary Patches O'Hallahan. Had a good run in the Highlander, and I think could go much closer in this spot. Play Me a Tune, one of the ones I'll be using. Who do you like in this spot?
Yeah, Play Me a Tune's got some big races on the synthetic. At Woodbine. I'm going to use the 6 Simcoe as well, another one who's got some nice races. And then I want to make sure I have the 1 Victory Achieved. Gets Lasix back on, tried that stake last time at Gulfstream on the synthetic, going a little bit further. Now you're cutting back to the sprint distance, the 1-turn distance, which I think this horse will appreciate. So because I've got the single in the first leg, I can be a little bit more spready throughout the sequence. I'm going to go 1, 5, 6.
Let's move on to the race that gives the day its name, the Grade 1. No, it's not Grade 1, actually. It's $1 million King's Plate. It's a restricted race, but it's a hell of a restricted race because it's essentially the Canadian Derby, where they're going 1.25 miles on the synth, and fillies have an unreal record in this race. There'll be a lot of no time on my tickets, but my top pick was going to be a big price in this spot. I really thought Daywolf is very, very interesting. Wasn't sure about the 30-1 on the morning line. I think this horse will catch some money. Was 4-1 in the prep, and that was a race where this one made the move into the fast pace that completely fell apart. Definitely going to be some 8s, definitely going to be some 10s for me. I've got a full write-up of this one over at theraces.com. We're going to link to that in various content on our website and also our free newsletter. Best way to keep track of everything we've got going on, whether you're watching on the YouTube channel or listening through whatever place you get your podcasts. Sign up for our free email, inthemoneypodcast.com/email. JK, who wins the King's Plate?
Yeah, I'm going to use 4 outside horses, 10, 11, 12, 13. The 10, No Time, a filly, like you mentioned, for Mark Casse, who's not afraid to run a filly in this race. I thought ran well in the Woodbine Oaks last time, got a good figure that day. There's been a couple of horses that have run well out of that race as well. The 11, Tom's Magic, a horse that's been running on the turf. But we know how some turf horses can handle getting the switch over to the synthetic, and another one who's exiting some productive races, probably needs to find just a little bit from a figure standpoint, but maybe the move to synthetic will give that horse what he needs to be able to pull that off. The 12, Sedbury's Ghost, right there in that plate trial, a winner of that race, who I thought ran well. And then to the outside, the 13, Ashley's Archer. Another one from Mark Casse I wanted to make sure I had. This one's gone more the allowance route, but I thought ran well enough last time, got a good figure last time, and has had some horses run back to make me feel like that was a trusted figure.
Casse has won this race 3 times and goes with a very big chance to make it 4 with that pair. Let's move on to the grade 2 King Edward, which comes up as race number 10. Should point out there is just a crazy good wagering menu throughout. We're going to be highlighting a lot of this with written content over at inthemoneypodcast.com. But one I definitely should have mentioned before, there is a cool race called the $5 Kings and Queens Pick 3 that connects races 7, 9, and 10. We love those higher minimums on high quality races. Real interesting opportunity for folks to get involved there, connecting races 7, 9, and 10. Speaking of race 10, that's the one we're discussing here. Very, very interesting. I have a few different ideas, few different ways I might try to go. I haven't absolutely finalized things yet. I was a little bit interested in Piper's Factor, the one runner, JK, as a horse who I wanted to keep on side in some places as a potential price that could be the speed, but there also could be too much speed. That could set it up for a Cruden's Bay. That's a horse I'm sure is going to be on some tickets. Where are your Canadian dollars going in here?
I'm going to single the 3, Cruden Bay. I thought that last race was outstanding, going the 7 furlongs. Now you get to go an extra furlong, going the 8. That race also came in off of a break. Right, the horse hadn't run since August. You'd like to think August of last year. You'd like to think there's another step forward. And if you look through the past performances, the times this horse has come in off of a break, typically runs pretty good second time off a break as well. So I'm ice cold to Cruden Bay, the 3.
I get it for sure on the numbers and the presumptive pace scenario, but I will say anytime I have a horse without speed, I always like to at least have one little backup line, if not more, on something with speed. You usually, very often the JK handicapping is a no closer zone. So that's interesting to me. Do you have this much faith in this horse?
Yeah, there's not any horses in here that I think are going to take advantage of it. I know the 10 war strategy has some speed, but I mean, they're either going to go out there and from that outside post, and they're going to probably have to run a little bit. I trust that the pace is going to be honest enough. If not, in this 1-turn mile configuration, I'm hoping that there's, that Cruden Bay gets kind of invited into the race to a certain extent.
Yep. I mean, that is something that can happen depending on exactly how it shakes out. Let's go on to race number 11 as I get my lunch delivered here. That's what that was for those watching on the YouTube channel. So grilled cheese, it looks pretty good. Let's talk about this 11th race, a race that looked maybe, Timeform had it as a potential boil over, which means maybe that could bring a closer into the mix. I don't know. Some of these haven't run, these are 2-year-olds, so it's hard to know how established the running styles are. Argos, 12-1 on the morning line. To me, that looked like it might be a bit overpriced on a horse that has at least a little bit of finish and could get a positive spot. That's one that I'll have at a price on some tickets. But in terms of this pick 6, JK, how are you going to approach this one?
Yeah, I'm going to spread here 1, 4, 5, 8, 9. I think the 1 and the 4 are pretty obvious that they've got good races in their last 2, but not that I necessarily trust. The 5, another one who's just kind of right in the mix, knocking on the door for Mark Casse, who could, be in one of an improving type. I think the 8 and the 9 are a little bit more of the outside the box types that I'm looking for. A horse that won a maiden first time out, ran well. I tried a stake that didn't go particularly well, but it's these young horses. They're still trying to figure it out. And then the 9 Argos, a horse that ran well for Riley Mott on the synthetic on the turf at Ellis Park, but then now makes a decision to try to come here to try the synthetic in a stake. I thought that was a very forward and positive move. And you get Flavian Pratt as well. So I'm going to spread in this last leg. I got a couple of singles that can afford me that right.
Okay, I like the sound of that. We'll come back, and again, I'll have my full write up of this one. This is a race you start thinking already about prepping for the grade ones coming up in September on that other big day. We close out this pick six with race number 12. We've got a starter allowance on the synthetic this time around, and this was one where I thought one of the speeds looked potentially pretty interesting for Mark Casse. That's the number 3, War of Destiny. I definitely think there is an opportunity to spread around a little bit, though. Jonathan, anything jump off the page to you in this race?
Yeah, I'm going to use War of Destiny. I just wish War of Destiny would have ran a little bit better last time. I know there was a little bit of an issue at the start, but I do wish that War of Destiny just would have run just a tad bit better. I want to make sure that I have a couple of horses. I'm going to take the 2 and the 3 to make sure that I have those, but I also want to have the 4 and the 10. The 4, Daddy Has Diamonds, puts the blinkers on. A horse that had some good races, throughout in 2024, but also earlier in this year, I thought ran well enough. I'm hoping that the blinkers on kind of wakes that one up a little bit. And then the 10 towards the outside, I'm not going to try to pronounce that. Tutti Contenti. I tried it. I said I wasn't, and I did it anyways.
I don't think you did badly, but this idea that you have to punt Italian pronunciations, I don't know where that comes from. I'm tempted to tell your in-laws here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Everybody's happy. Come on.
I thought the horse ran extremely well last time. Got a lifetime best figure. There's been some horses that have run back out of that race that have run well, which makes me feel confident that the figure is trusted. I want to make sure that I have that one on. It can really help this thing pay.
I like that idea very much. Going to be doing the deep dive on that when we don't cover the last race in here, but that's the Super High Five mandatory. I'm hoping we find somebody over on InTheMoneyPodcast.com to write that one up, maybe horse by horse or take an approach. I think Mikey P actually said he was going to take a crack. That's a bet that's going to be fun. The ultimate get out with hopefully some nice extra money in the pool. This one will have extra money too, as it's the mandatory payout day. Also want to highlight that $5 Kings and Queens pick 3, but the whole wagering menu is excellent. We've got you covered over at InTheMoneyPodcast.com. I can almost taste the pea meal bacon. JK, I'm getting ready for this trip to Toronto. I'm pumped. I only wish you could join us for this one.
Yeah, me too. I went to a Thai restaurant. I don't remember the name of it when I was up there for our grade 1 victory with Long on Value.
That's right.
And I went to a Thai restaurant there that was sensational, but I can't remember the name of it, so I'm not helping anybody.
Great international food all over Toronto, and I'm looking forward to stay right at the hotel there. They make it very, very easy near the airport. Great place to travel. I recommend Woodbine very, very highly, and who knows, maybe I'll even see some folks up there come September. All right, we've got more. If you're on the YouTube channel, click on one of our other videos. We got a lot more coverage coming up, and on the audio side, we'll be back right after this.